like a what's it and a hairline that's social distancing from your forehead now. Fuck off! That was the last thing I said to him. I was so mad. And I could tell he were right, and I thought, good. Now you know what it feels like to be judged on how you look. Fucking good, you prick! To be fair, the hair thing was a real job. Because it was still only growing back in after taking. And do you know what? His dick wasn't like a what's it. It was the joint fourth biggest I'd had. Hey, and I'm not a slagger, I'd only been like 7.5 contenders. And he definitely wasn't the smallest by a long way. Hey, and his technique, that was up there. Because he listened to what I needed, what I wanted. You know, when we shagged, I felt like he cared that I was happy too. I mean, not like my last ex, Ben. He was so creepy, Fanny thought he was haunted. So, we're snuggled up on the sofa and we're watching, I don't know, I think it was Love Island or something. Well, I was watching Love Island, he was busy scrolling on his phone, and then out of nowhere, he showed me a screen and said, I'm doing this on Saturday, babe. You should come, it will be good for you. And when I saw, what were on his phone, well, it felt like the floor had been swept from underneath me and I was just sinking. Parkrun. He wanted me to do a fucking parkrun. Oh, what do you mean it'd be good for me, I said. What do I want to do with a Saturday morning spent running around with a bunch of 40-year-old men and fucking South Africans? Fuck that! But you're not your best right now, darling. And don't get me wrong, I like you a little bit cuddlier. I want to help you and it's something that we could do together. Do you know what? Most men know, well, should know, that if any woman in their life says anything about not liking how they look, the only response is, what are you on about, babe? You look great. Not, come on, Humpty Dumpty, let's roll you around a fucking optical park covered in dog shit. Park. I'm mad at myself. I am. Because I thought I was doing a lot better. I had it nailed, I knew exactly what to do, I had my own little routines, I had my little flat in London and good friends and a fella who wasn't a dickhead. At first. You know, I'd gotten too comfortable with it. Being okay, and normally I'd always have that underlying pit of anxiety in the stomach and it kept me alert, but with Will, I took my eye off the ball. And bless him, I thought, he didn't know he bought me that dress that was one size too small. And he was right. I didn't need dessert, and maybe if I'd have been more presentable, I would have got that promotion. His face when he saw me in the park. All those happy people running around with their friends high-fiving each other. When they finished and the women, oh my God. I've never seen that many beautiful women in one place in my life. Even their sweat, it glowed. It gave them this sexy allure. Not the big red puffy face that I got when I exercised because my body was chuffing sulking. Tash. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's good to see, but Jesus. And my eyes immediately went to the absolute babe who was standing next to him. And he didn't introduce her, but I didn't care. Because I I was there to call out the manipulative prick in front of all of his running buddies, scream at him for chipping away at my confidence so much that every time I took a mouthful of food, all I heard was his twattish voice in my head. All that came out was a sob. The next day, my mum and dad turned up unannounced. And Mum cried as soon as she saw me, and Dad, for fuck's sake, girl, not again. I could see the absolute brokenness in his eyes. And Will had called them. No, actually, he'd texted them. I hope this message finds you well. I saw Natasha in the park today, and had it not been that I was in a terrible rush for brunch, I would have called the ambulance myself. I think you should go collect your daughter. Kind regards, Will. What an absolute prick. He didn't give a shit about me, and deep down, he knew it was a manipulative wankster. And this was all his fault. And I saw through him though. As soon as he mentioned a fucking parkrun, it was like the scales fell from my eyes. I knew exactly what he was trying to do. And I can't remember the last time I was that angry at someone. It was too late. That night, I thought it was just an emotional reaction and I didn't think any more of it, but I just wanted some control back. And if I'm being really honest, even though I was so angry at him, the little voice inside me told me that he was right. And it's always been about control, you know? The smaller I could make myself, the safer I felt. Because it was my fault I was bullied. It was my fault I wasn't good enough. It was my fault I wasn't good enough for Will or any of the fucking others. But if I could just shrink myself enough, you know, I might be good enough to love. It just might be. And that I could control something when everything else around me was going to shit. And the tinier I was, the safer I felt, which is fucking ironic, isn't it? And I'll bloody do it, you know. I will, I'll stop all of this and I'll start eating properly and I won't take laxatives. Sorry, I don't want to give you any ideas. I just meant I will be happy again, but not so happy that I get complacent and I take my eye off the ball. Right now I'm doing it for them. My mum and dad. Yeah, that's a good tip there. You know, if you don't want to get better for yourself, do it for someone who really loves you, because fuck knows, we don't love each other, do we? We don't love ourselves. Actually, no, that's really shit advice. I can't think of two people I love more in the world. Yet, they still had to drag me screaming and kicking back into this fucking ward. I mean, not that it's a bad place, I hope, but I'll get better for them. And fingers crossed,